Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. We are doing what I hope to become a really fun series of grade your portfolio or grade my portfolio, however, whatever name that sticks for us, the first episode, okay? And what we're doing is we're taking people who have submitted their portfolio via public, the link should be below to say, hey, look, what is your take on my investments? What do you think about these investments? Do you like them? Do you not like them? What should I do? Right. So we're going to get to some disclaimers and let you guys know the context in which we're looking at. Because there's going to be somebody out there that says, well, I don't like what you said because of X, Y, and Z. So let's get to it first. All right. So number one, we are looking at it as if it is the only thing that they have. Obviously, they can have other investments like real estate that could inform how you invest. For example, y'all know that I have index funds and I have a 401k and retirement, all that kind of type of stuff that informs how I invest. What I have on public right now is at like 8%, trying to get it to 10% of my overall net worth. That means that 90% you don't see when you look at my profile page. And that's fine. I don't have to have 100% of anything in any one place. Okay. So we're looking at it just to make it standard, we are seeing this as if this is the only thing that this person has. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, this is not investing advice. It is my opinion on what I think based on what I know in my experience. Recall that before becoming an advisor, before doing all that stuff in New York and other places, I was a teacher in Dallas, Texas. I was a seventh grade math teacher. Shout out to Ann Richards Middle School in Dallas, Texas. Like all my students are like grown now. I feel old. But aside from all of that, it brings me back to my teaching roots. I get to kind of grade, pull out a red pen, do some screenshots, draw some stuff, and really kind of give my thoughts on what's going on in the economy, what I think could be missing, or if I say, hey, I think this is perfect, right? So again, it's just my take, and we are assuming that this is everything they have, which it may not be the case. So we know that. And then three, we don't always know what the person's goals are, and that's also okay. Again, this is just for education purposes. We're looking at it and say, this is what I think about the situation, and we're going to leave it at that. Okay. Them's the rules. I'll also say that if you want me to grade your portfolio, this is the only way that these episodes can continue. So if you want me to grade yours, there are two ways you can do it. Listen closely to the directions, okay? Number one, you can submit your link, your public link, at the bottom on or in the comment section of YouTube or public. Those are the only two places. If you DM me your portfolio link, I ain't looking at it because I have 487 messages. I'm not always able to thumb through there and answer them. I try to answer as many as I can, but the easiest way to do it is to do it in the comment section because that's where I live. Y'all see me comment there often. You see me like stuff often. That is the best place to put your link if you want me to grade it. All right, letting you know that now. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'll share the screen and we'll look at their portfolio. You'll be able to follow them on public as well if you choose to. I think I'm their only follower, their first follower right now. So this will be fun. All right. So let me go ahead, hit the share screen button. And this is all right. So you should be able to see their profile. So feel free to follow Juicebox. The O in box is with a zero, so don't get confused there. And they have their portfolio here. They have the I guess their core portfolio. I'm sorry, their regular portfolio here, and then long term. So the reason they split it out, like these are stocks that this person believes is their long term stuff, and then stuff that may switch around. So my portfolio is similar, and I've got stuff in my long term holdings. I'm not moving those. Everything else can move. Doesn't mean that it does, but it can for me. Okay, it mathematically and all kinds of stuff. It really doesn't matter, but it's just for you psychologically. This is the stuff you know you're gonna hold. These are things that can move around. That's how I interpret both of these. All right, so what I'm going to do first is pull these down into the screen here. That way I can like draw and give you my thoughts. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 7 stocks total. Okay, so 7 stocks isn't necessarily diversified, but again, we're assuming this is all you have and not some stuff here and some stuff elsewhere. So you do want to have more than 7. Now, the textbook will tell you 20 to 30. Again, that's hard to do because it's a lot of research to go through 30 different stocks and then know which ones to get and know which ones to keep and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm gonna let that slide. Okay, so got 7 is not necessarily as diversified, so we could add more. So I would say, with my red pen here, I'm gonna say add a few more stocks. Okay, just a few more. You got 7, anywhere between maybe 3 to 5. Again, the textbook, any professional will tell you, 20 to 30, that makes you diversify, or you just get an ETF, exchange traded fund, they'll knock it out for you. So you could definitely do that. I'll also pause and tell you now that an index fund or any ETF, that'll do you. Okay, that you can be good with that. So we'll go ahead and look at these. So I think Apple is fine. I have no complaints. I don't know many people who would. I think Amazon is fine. I think y'all know where I am there. I think Facebook is fine. And I think Netflix is good. And I think Tesla is good. So I have no reservations about, what is that? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have no reservations about those 5. I think you're good there. What I am concerned about, or at least what stood out to me, was Dunkin' Donuts. And let me just erase these. So what stood out to me was Dunkin' Donuts and NIO. These are the ones that I am concerned about. Why is that? So Dunkin' Donuts, the history of Dunkin' Donuts is that they just went public like this week or last week. It hadn't been long. Dunkin' is not the first time that Dunkin' Donuts has gone public. Public means that they offer stock. They were private, think of like a Chick-fil-A. You can't just invest in Chick-fil-A. And then public is when you can buy stock in them. So they just IPO'd again, and they've been having some issues. They have increased competition with Dunkin' Donuts selling donuts. Then you've got all these other places that also sell coffee and breakfast items, including Wendy's now offers breakfast. You got McDonald's that's always been out there. You got Burger King. Like, all these places are competing for that attention, right? Donuts are now sold at Starbucks. Well, not donuts, but like sweet stuff, right? Is sold at Starbucks. These are all places I can go now that aren't named Dunkin' Donuts. If I'm not mistaken, because we did a podcast on this not too long ago, that Dunkin' Donuts wasn't profitable in an era where people were sitting at home and eating more stuff than ever, right? And they had to go public to get more money. If you have to get more money, that concerns me. Doesn't mean that Dunkin' Donuts is a terrible company. Clearly, right now it's up 4.59%. That's cool, but it ain't for me. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of Dunkin' Donuts. Clearly, I've been ranting on about it. NIO's an interesting case for 2 reasons. They're a Chinese electric car company. And I don't think, even though I think the EV space is going to be where things are headed, especially if the infrastructure bill goes through, you already have Tesla. I'm not entirely sure if I need both of them at the same time, because on days like this, you're losing 8% in NIO and then another 2% in Tesla. I think Tesla, if I got to pick, I'm gonna go with what I know, and what I know is a lot more stable, and that's what Tesla is. But I'm also going to show you this. If we pull up, I have too many windows up, but if we pull up a chart on NIO, you can see that this is pandemic money, right? This absolutely took off this over the past year. But if I look at the last 6 months, I can see that it has been you can see now it's a wild ride, but you can see here, this is a huge dip that, depending on who you are as an investor, you might not want to be on this type of roller coaster. And you see that what is this, mid-May started to take off again, and then another sharp dip. That's not the type of roller coaster I prefer. I don't prefer any roller coaster with my money, with my life. I ride roller coasters, but with this, it's probably not something I personally want to do. So I'm gonna compare it with Tesla real quick, just to give you a comparison to see if it's the same or not. And you can see Tesla is a little similar, right? But the dips aren't as severe. You can see in this area, it's not as severe. They both took a dip. Okay, so in either case, right, if I'm gonna take a dip, I'm not going to take a dip twice, right? I don't want to do both of them, because then I'm losing in 2 areas. So that might be one of them. You choose, but I would probably diversify out of NIO and into something else. I could also sit here and compare, which is a company that I own. Ford is moving into the EV space, electric vehicles for EV, and we can see how it has fared, and it is a whole different story, right? In the last 6 months, 2 completely different stories. One is down 8%, the other is up 60%. So now you know why I invested in Ford. So again, just my opinion on what I'm looking at. If I look at the past year, things are going to be different. You can see it was up 300%. But again, you go from here down to here in this space. Okay, so that is still a high roller coaster. I don't know if that was the best that NIO will ever do. I don't know. I don't know. We will see. But I really weigh heavily on the last 6 months because I this is known to be a relative predictor, not a 100% predictor, but a relative predictor for the next 6 months, which is when I, not everybody, it's when I decide to reevaluate. Does not mean sell, it means reevaluate. So that's what I'm looking at. I would either just get rid of NIO and switch it out for something else, or I would choose a Ford, a GM, or someone else if I want to kind of get out of something that is so volatile. I'll also show you, I'll get out of this one and look at GM. GM was another company I was looking at as well. And was it gonna let me do it? GM. There we go. General Motors also moving to the electric vehicle space, maybe not as aggressively as Ford, also at 31%. So right now, today, one of those two is where I would be if I still want two companies in that space. So that's going to be totally up to you. That's just how I'm looking at it. All right, so let's go back. So here I might do maybe Ford, maybe GM, okay, or maybe just none. Because I don't have to replace it. I don't have to. Okay, so I could do Ford, I could do GM, or I could do nothing, or just kind of scrap it. Is what this is just me. Okay, so I had a list of things I wanted to look at. So that's what I feel about NIO. Now the other thing that I've noticed is a lot of these are tech companies or categorized under tech. So you got Apple and Amazon are in tech. You got Facebook, obviously, in tech. Then you got Netflix, which is tech, and then most people would throw Tesla in the tech category. So that's 5 out of the 7. That's a lot of money in the tech category, which is helpful if you're trying to be aggressive, which is fine, right? But assuming this is everything that you have, you might want to look at some ways to diversify. So I do not see, I would say diversify a bit. My handwriting's terrible. Deal with it. So I would diversify a bit. Ford or GM, that might help you a bit. But also look into things like real estate. So I'll do other ideas. And you can look into these, do your research, and see which one or ones you like. So if I'm looking to diversify, you need something probably in the financial space. I think that's a very good area for people to be in right now, and maybe even over the next year and some change. I think I've got Capital One. You can look there. JP Morgan is a big pick for a lot of people. That's one place that you could go to. You also might want some consumer goods and stuff, right? To kind of, again, you're so heavy in tech, you might want to kind of either add or replace some of these. A place that people tend to go, some people go to a Dollar General. Now, you're not going to see a lot of growth there. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dollar General ain't going to double, right? You're not going to see a straight line up with Dollar General. You might see better results here with Target, TGT. But again, they're in that same category. People got to shop. They got to get groceries. You don't get real groceries at Dollar General, but you get the point. People got to go there, and it's not so heavily in tech. So if something happens in tech, which it did earlier this year, you're going to have something to kind of balance you out. JP Morgan, Dollar General, and or Target, RSA, or because you don't want to double up again. That might be able to help you there. You also want something kind of in perhaps the industrial space. So that might be something like a GE, General Electric, that'll kind of balance you out here. And then, and honestly, I should have invested this in myself, but this is DRE. DRE is a real estate investment trust, or REIT. Now, when you say real estate in the era of COVID, it's going to sound crazy, except that this REIT primarily invests in industrial places. So like, I think hospital buildings, warehouses, things that are still in use that hadn't really fallen out. So I wouldn't do office space. I may do like residential hotel space, maybe hotel space. But I wouldn't do like, apartment buildings, because people are really flocking to houses, right? So depending on what city you're looking at, I wouldn't do a REIT that owns malls. Ain't nobody going to a mall, but people are still using hospitals fortunately, unfortunately. And people are obviously still using warehouses, Amazon being one of those. But I do want to show you this before I close out. Again, I came across this one today. I wish I had looked into it myself. Let's go ahead and switch the chart here. This is DRE. Again, it's a real estate investment trust. REITs are known to pay good dividends too. So it's another thing that you look into. You can see how good it's been over the last 6 months. We're looking at 27%. If we compare that to the overall market, which is the S&P 500, you can see where it is. The overall market up 16%. This particular investment up 27%. Over the last year, we are looking at 34%, which is a little bit under the overall market, but still, again, really, really good in comparison. I think has a lot more room to grow as things continue to open up. So overall, I would give this portfolio, let me go back to here. Assuming this person is a beginner, and this is an assumption, I don't know, right? So when this person's a beginner, I might go with a, I'm gonna go with a C, which is average. Okay. I don't want to be too mean. I'm not looking to be mean at all. But actually, let me see. I'm gonna go with a B minus. I'm actually going to B minus. Okay, that's the grade I would go with, because you've got some good quality companies here: Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, and Tesla. I would say those are pretty good. You really only got 2 red flags, which that's not bad. That's actually not bad at all. And we don't even know if Dunkin' Donuts is a red flag, right? It's just new. It's an unknown. Neo might make you some money, but I think it's a little volatile, and that's the only concern that you have to have is like, is this something that's too spicy for me, right? So I would give this a B minus. This isn't bad at all, especially if you're a beginner. I would look to diversify a bit. Some of these ideas might work for you, some of them might not. Again, it's just my take on it. And if you want to still be in the EV space, you might be able to do that with some companies that might be a little more easier to understand. You can still take the risk with Dunkin' Donuts. I don't hate it. But I think these two combined, depending on how much money is in those two, which we do not know. I don't know if this money is split evenly or not. Again, we don't know that. That does matter. These are things I would just have an eye on. Okay. If you're not risky, you don't want these. Or that's that right? Yeah, if you're not risky, you don't want these. If you are risky, you're fine. Okay, so that's just my take on it. This is episode 1. Our first student, our first person got a B minus. We're looking to diversify. I think maybe if you add, you've got 7 here. So if you're adding 3 to 5, you're getting anywhere between 10 to 12 or so. I think that's a decent core, assuming that's everything you have. I think it's a little bit too tech heavy, and you can diversify with those with some of the holdings on the screen. All right, so that's it for me. That's it for episode 1. If you want to join and play our little game, if you want me to grade your portfolio and just give you my thoughts on what you may be investing in, you can do it 2 ways. Remember, you can do it by submitting your link, your public link in the comments below here or on public, and I will record a video and just go off the cuff, right? And if you liked it, make sure that you hit the like button. I want to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think about the portfolio? Be nice. Think, was there something I missed or something you learned? And we'll take from there. All right. Talk to you guys later.